Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching this channel, this is Arithmetics, and here we make maths fun. So please, at the end of the video, do not fail to like, comment, subscribe and share. So the topic we're going to be treating today is indices. If you have a number written or a figure written as a raised to the power n, the a is the base and the n is known as the exponent, the power, or the index. So the number written up by the right is the index. Okay, we're going to be looking at the laws of indices. The first law of indices we are going to be looking at is the multiplication law. If two numbers are multiplied and they have the same base, you simply add the powers. When multiplying, you add the powers. As you can see, a raised to the power m and a raised to the power n, you simply add m plus n because the bases are the same. For example, if you have a raised to the power 4 times a raised to the power 5, a raised to the power 4 is simply a multiplied by itself 4 times, and a raised to the power 5 is a multiplied by itself 5 times. So if you count all of them, is a raised to the power 9, but instead of multiplying it all out, you just add 4 plus 5 the powers and you get a raised to the power 9. Another example, we have x raised to the power 3 and x raised to the power 1. In mathematics, any number or letter written without a power means it's raised to the power of 1. So we will now have x raised to the power 3 times x raised to the power 1, which is add the powers. X raised to the power 3 plus 1 will give us x raised to the power 4. Another example, we are going to see 2 raised to the power 5 times 2 raised to the power 14. The bases are the same, 2 and 2, so we simply add the powers. 5 plus 14 will give us 19. So we have 3 raised to the power a times 3 raised to the power b. Simply add a plus b and you get 3 raised to the power a plus b. 7 raised to the power 2x times 7 raised to the power 5x. The bases are the same. Simply add 2x plus 5x. It will give us 7 raised to the power 7x. So we have p raised to the power 3 times p raised to the power 9. So we simply add 3 plus 9 because the bases are the same, p and p. We get p raised to the power 12. We have 5 raised to the power 0 times 5 raised to the power 4. Add 0 plus 4, we get 5 raised to the power 4. So the second law of indices, if we are dividing, we subtract the power of the figure by the right hand side from that on the left hand side. So we have a raised to the power n on the left hand side, so we have a raised to the power n on the right hand side, so we subtract n from m, just subtract the powers. For example, we have 3 raised to the power 6 divided by 3 raised to the power 2. We subtract 2 from 6 and we get 3 raised to the power 4. So we subtract the power on the right hand side from that on the left hand side. Another example, we have x raised to the power 13 divided by x raised to the power 9. Subtract 9 from 13 because 9 is on the right hand side. We now get x raised to the power 4. We see 2 raised to the power 3y divided by 2 raised to the power y. Y is the same thing as 1y, so we subtract y from 3y and our answer will be 2 raised to the power 2y. We have t raised to the power 6x divided by t raised to the power 2x. Subtract 2x from 6x, we get t raised to the power 4x. So another one, we have a raised to the power 5 divided by a raised to the power 7. So we subtract 7, which is on the right hand side, from 5, which is on the left hand side. Our answer will be a raised to the power minus 2. The third law of indices we are going to be looking at is anything raised to the power 0 is 1. 4 raised to the power 0 is 1. P raised to the power 0 times Q raised to the power 0 is 1 times 1, which will give us 1. So we have 2 raised to the power 0 times 5 raised to the power 0 times 3 raised to the power 0. 2 raised to the power 0 times 2 raised to the power 5 times 3 raised to the power 0. So we just multiply 1 times 2 raised to the power 5 times 1 is going to give us 2 raised to the power 5. The fourth law of indices is if we have a base and an index inside, another index outside a bracket, you multiply the index inside the bracket with the one outside. For example, we have a raised to the power 3 with another index raised to the power 2. So we multiply the 3 inside the bracket by the 2. So the answer will be a raised to the power 6. Now we have 2 raised to the power 6 all raised to the power 3. We multiply the 6 inside the bracket by the 3 outside the bracket, so we get 2 raised to the power 18. Another example we are going to see, we have 9 raised to the power 4 brackets raised to the power 2, so we just multiply 4 inside the bracket by 2, we get 9 raised to the power 8. Now we have w raised to the power 2y all raised to the power 3, so we multiply the 2y by 3 and we get w raised to the power 6y. Now we have p raised to the power 3 brackets raised to the power 5y. We multiply the 3 by the 5y and we get p raised to the power 15y. Now we have 5 raised to the power minus 2 bracket all raised to the power 6, so we multiply the minus 2 inside the bracket by the 6 outside, so we get 5 raised to the power minus 12. So the fifth law of indices we are going to be looking at is when we have 1 over any number raised to a power, we simply remove the 1 and add a negative sign to the power. For example, 1 over a is the same thing as a raised to the power 1. So we remove the 1 and add a minus sign in front of the power, so we have a raised to the power minus 1. Another example, we have 1 over 3 raised to the power 2. We just remove the 1 and add a minus sign in front of the index, which is 2, so we get 3 raised to the power minus 2. So we are going to be seeing another example. 2 all over x raised to the power 6 is the same thing as 2 times 1 over x raised to the power 6. So we x raised to the 1 over x raised to the power 6 is the same thing as x raised to the power minus 6. So 2 times x raised to the power minus 6 will give us 2x raised to the power minus 6. Another example, we have 1 over p raised to the power 5. So remove the 1, you just put a negative sign in front of the index. We have p raised to the power minus 5. The sixth law of indices we are going to be seeing is the nth root of a is the same thing as 1 over a raised to the power 1 over n. The nth root of a is the same thing as a raised to the power 1 over n. For example, we have the cube root of a is the same thing as the cube root of 8 is the same thing as 8 raised to the power 1 over 3. So the roots will be the denominator and the numerator for the power will be 1. Now we have the cube root of 27 is the same thing as 27 raised to the power 1 over 3. Now we have the fourth root of 81 is just 81 raised to the power 1 over 4. So because of the rule, you just put 1 as the numerator and the root as the denominator of the power. So we have square root of 144 is the same thing as 144 raised to the power half, and 144 is 12 square. So you just multiply the powers. 12 square times half, it will give you 12. So the square root of 144 is 12. Another example, we have 81 raised cube root of 81 raised to the power half. Remember, 81 raised to the power half is the same thing as square root of 81. And because it is cube root, as we can see in the sixth law, we just have to put 1 over the root. So we have 81 raised to the power half, all brackets, raised to the power 1 over 3, and 81 raised to the power half is square root of 81, which is 9. So we now have 9 raised to the power 1 over 3, and 9 is 3 square. So we have 3 raised to the power 2 multiplied by the root by 1 over 3. So the answer is 3 raised to the power 2 over 3. Another example, we have 2 raised to the cube root of 2 raised to the power 6. 2 raised to the power 6, we just put a bracket and add the 1 over 3. So 6 times 1 over 3 will give you 2. So we have 2 raised to the power 2, which is equal to 4. So we have the square root of 2 raised to the power 6. We just put a bracket and write 1 over the root, which is 1 over 2. And 6 times 1 over 2 is 3. So we have 2 raised to the power 3, which is still 8. Another example, we have 1 over 2 raised to the power 10. As we have seen earlier, 1 over any number, if you remove the 1, you put a negative sign in front of the power. So we have square root of 2 raised to the power minus 10. And square root is the same thing as a number raised to the power half. So 2 raised to the power minus 10 times half will give us 2 raised to the power minus 5. Now we have 16 over 25 raised to the power minus half. Because there is a minus in the power, we put 1 all over the number. So we have 1 all over 16 over 25 raised to the power half. Now, in any number raised to the power half is simply the square root of that number. So we have 1 all over square root of 16 over 25. And square root of 16 over 25 simply means square root of 16 divided by square root of 25. And square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. So we have 1 all over 4 over 5. That's 1 divided by 4 over 5. And 1 divided by 4 over 5 is 5 over 4. So 16 over 25 raised to the power minus half will give you 5 over 4. The seventh law of indices we are going to be seeing is a raised to the power n over m is the same thing as a raised to the power the mth root of a raised to the power n. Notice that n is the numerator, so it is written inside. M, which is the denominator, is written outside. For example, we have 9 raised to the power 5 all over 2. So we simply put the square root of 9 raised to the power 5. And square root of 9 raised to the power 5 is 243. 243 is the same thing as 3 raised to the power 5. So 9 raised to the power 5 over 2 will give us 3 raised to the power 5. So we have 64 raised to the power 1 over 3 is just the cube root of 64, which is 4. The cube root of 64, which is 4. Now we have another example, 8 raised to the power 2 over 3. 8 raised to the power 2 all over 3 is the same thing as cube root of 8 square. And 8 square is 64. Cube root of 64 will give us 4. Remember, 2 is the numerator, so it is written inside the square root, and 3, which is the denominator, is the root. So we have cube root of 8 square, which is the same as cube root of 64, and we get 4 as the answer. Now the last example we are going to be seeing is 100 raised to the power 3 all over 2, which is the same thing as square root of 100 cube. 100 cube is 1 million. That's 100 times 100 times 100 will give you 1 million. And the square root of 1 million is 1000. 1000 is the same thing as 10 raised to the power 3. So 100 raised to the power 3 all over 2 will give us 10 raised to the power 3 as the answer. And we have come to the end of today's lesson. I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to drop your questions in the comment section. Ask your questions in the comment section, and thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Please make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, you comment, and you share. You can invite your family members, your friends, let them all come and subscribe and learn something new in mathematics. Thanks for watching once again. Don't forget to click the subscribe button before you go.